liquidity. Governments have to trust market. We can't have a situation where, I'm just an example, where Indian Energy Exchange, the discovered price went about 20 rupees, the KWH, and government say, no, the price ceiling is this. Or when the agricultural price goes up, that commodity is removed from the future list of NCDX. Nobody is going to trust our government on those things. So if there is no stability to the policy, you don't have market functioning. I mean, some of this is little bit of a, I mean, some improvements are there. Glass half full, we can see the improvements. Glass half empty, we can see these problems. Each one to see the totality of the picture with his own eyes.
Sir, thank you very much. Rajiv, can I ask?
One question, probably all panelists.
I wanted to ask one question to Satya and Puneet. Now, little different than what we were discussing, but very much part of the topic. Now, today, many persons must be coming to you and asking a question: in which currency should we hold or keep our savings or investment, if that is for 10 years or 20 years or 15 years? Because we are talking of long term. Suppose we have the perspective of a decade. I want to have my savings for my retirement. So I'll work at least for 15 more years, if God wills so. But I want that money after 15 years. And I have a typical question before me. I'm not an economist, I'm not a banker, I'm not a venture capitalist, I'm a lawyer. I don't want to apply my mind to economics and market. I want to focus on my work. Where do I keep my money, in which currency, so that I can keep focusing on my work rather than looking at the exchange rates every day in the newspaper? So what do I do? That's a big question. Some banker came to me and suggested, you are keeping all your investment in India. Why? We have a product which will be, making the investment in US dollars, or it will be making the investment in Singapore currency, or which will make a global basket of your currency, so that you will not have that risk. And now there is a talk of internationalization, and fortunately or unfortunately, and Mr. Ambassador, also the economist present here, says that chances are zero. So what do I do in this situation? I'm in a fix. You have to help me. Satya first.
Yeah. Let me truly give a Marwadi answer here.
मारवाड़ी चाहिए सर?
मारवाड़ी में कहावत है, पैसा जो है ना सिक्योर करना है तो दो जगह जरूर रख जो, एक सोनू और दूसरो जमीन. And why I'm saying so, and let's truly understand, because that's a true storage of value. And this is the old saying.
आपने तो कोई भी करेंसी का मना कर दिया सर.
नहीं, I'll tell you why, Sanjay. There is a reason for it. I don't think anybody.
So you have.
Anybody who has got clarity with regard to what is going to happen in the next 10 to 15 years with regard to the fiat currencies, and the biggest joke of the fiat currency was crypto, which was all happening around us. Okay. Now we all believe it to an extent, we may not believe in, but look at what is happening to various international currencies, the way they have printed notes, the way the inflation is going to be, visible, invisible, we are all feeling it. I personally believe true storage of value. So true storage of value is why I say gold, and I'll give the example. Gold is the true storage of value so far as preserving the value is concerned, because this is the only real currency. Before Bretton Woods, this was the only real currency. It was only denominated different way. Even today, ruble has gone up. Why? Because it's pegged to gold. Yes. Why I'm talking about land? Because land is a finite is a defined resource. You can't get more land than what we have on the earth. And second, if you can get a land which is productive, which is income generating in whatever form and manner that you can, that's again a storage of value. Third is that ultimately we own whatever currency. Currency is only a means. Ultimately our currency is defined in the way we use the currency for our business. So if you are investing in any business you like, whether in the form of an angel investor, venture capitalist, private equity or public market, as long as your business is the storage of your value, you're all protected. So I only believe in three currencies: gold as a real medium of exchange and storage of value, land if it's a productive and income generating, third, investing in businesses in whatever forum, in whatever stage that you believe in.
Excellent, Satya. I think tomorrow, on Monday, when the market opens, I have to see what do I need to encash and where do I put my money? So I'll talk to you on Monday, and therefore I requested you to please meet all of us in K-Clan Meet. Immediately after this, Pratik would be showing a video on that, what is Kalani Clan. So I wanted you to be in that very close circle meet where the persons who are from Kalani alumni would be there, and we could have taken your benefit, because we know that you have spent all the money for coming to the conference all the way from Singapore. We cannot pay you our ticket charge, but at least we can give you that pleasure that you have so many clients here.
Jokes apart, let me just confess here. I am here because of our common
Thank you.
mentor.
Thank you very
We are
much.
all here. हम तो बहुत इतना रफ डायमंड था वो, जिसको तरासा यहाँ कालानी कंपनी में झंवर साहब ने है, जिसकी वजह से हम यहाँ पर हैं आज.
Thank you so much, and whosoever is not registered for tomorrow's meet from Kalani or from Chiramrit or from U-Clan, please register. Now we have another charm to attend that picnic or get together. And here I wanted to have a young advice as well, because you are more senior than me. I don't know what is, that could be termed as traditional advice, and this could be termed as modern advice. And I have all kind of audience here, and I promised to the chairman of the conference, Anand Rathi uncle, that I'll give at least one thing to each one of the attendees. And therefore, Rajiv ji, please excuse me for asking this question to them, that where do we invest our money? That's the question which is, 80% of the hall wants that answer. So Puneet, it's your turn now.
Thank you. And I think my answer, until he mentioned the first 2 points, I was like, man, I'm going to give an diametrically opposite answer to that. Because for me, I have 0 gold in my portfolio. I have 0 land in my portfolio. And I don't even intend to think of those asset classes, because I think of them as almost unproductive asset classes. In India, the yield on real estate is so low, and gold doesn't generate much yield in either. But when he said third, productive businesses, that is what we do for a living. And so to me, but building on the topic we were talking about, if I look at the last 3 years, US dollar, the unfortunate reality has strengthened, and US's dominance has strengthened. US printed the most money, and still every other currency depreciated against it. And it is a fascinating chart to look at the amount of money US was printing during COVID and how every currency behaved relative to US dollar.
So I think our decision to open an office in US in April this year is right, and
that is
we should
absolutely
create value
right.
there, right?
Absolutely.
Thank you, Puneet, and I think we are almost at the close of this session. And
I think one question to all the panelists. Probably all the panelists are in agreement that there is no immediate positive impact of this policy decision. So what are the risks associated? Having taken this decision, is it premature, or any risk associated with this decision at this point of time?
I see only upside for it. Maybe the decision was taken under duress, given the current situation of bilateral trade that we were going through across few different countries. But I think it could prove to be useful. And let me just give you an example which I can see on the horizon. You go and talk to any country in Middle East today. What is the biggest concern? Food security. Can India not be a provider of assurance of food security? And if you put them saying that, hey, we will do bilateral trade here in our own currency, do you feel they will not supply oil under bilateral trade? So wherever we have an economic advantage, or at least equivalent to deal at our own terms, hopefully this bilateralization of trade would lead to internationalization at some point in time. So this is, right now we have done it out of compulsion, or maybe out of the kind of a formalization of that, the bilateral dialogue in a little more structured manner. But my sense is that given the challenge of food security that the global world has, and possibly the amount of healthcare security that we are going to face now, I think India can be net provider of food and healthcare to the global world, and that's where possibly our bilateralization of currency would help in internationalization.
So, Jan sir, do you have anything to say on this? Is it a premature decision, some risk associated at this point of time?
No, so as I said, the chance of success this time around is very different from what could be interpreted in the past. And by the way, somebody was talking about the dominance of dollar in foreign exchange. 3 countries have broken this barrier. Canada, which was 0% in the global foreign exchange, has now a share of 1.9%. Australia, which had a 0%, has now 2.5%. And China, which had 0%, now got 3%. So this time it's different. And I agree with him, the upside is significant, but the downside, which can be, one, many people have talked about, Reserve Bank may not be able to intervene so much in the foreign exchange market. So rupee might become volatile, more volatile in the near term. The second risk is that RBI's monetary policy will be, can't remain independent. We have to broadly follow the global policy. These are the 2 downsides. We actually are successful in making rupee internationalized.
Thank you, economist and the ambassador and the venture capital investors and everyone else on the dais. And thank you, my co-moderator of this session, Rajiv ji, for asking brilliant questions, preparing so thoroughly on the subject, which is not really ours, preparing on the subject of economics, but it gave the chance to us to go into the textbooks of economics once again, to go into the international scenario of the currencies, to see the history of dollars. I enjoyed the debates and discussions with you, although we had diverse views on certain topics of currencies, but we had 3 sessions before coming to you, sir, between us, and we enjoyed the session much more than here. We were only for 50 minutes. There we spent 2 hours before coming to you with the nice questions, and it's all credit goes to Rajiv Soghani ji. Thank you very much, and now over to you.
Now, to facilitate our distinguished panelists along with the moderator, I would request Mr. Atul Arora, Chief Financial Officer of SK Finance, and Mr. Pratim Tamboli, CEO, Gitanjali Medical College and Hospital.
तो नेहा, अब तो तुम्हें समझ में आ ही गया होगा कि वो दिन दूर नहीं जब रुपए एज अ करेंसी विल बी एक्सेप्टेड फॉर इंटरनेशनल ट्रेड्स एज वेल. तुम्हें तो सीए की प्रैक्टिस किए हुए 17 साल हो गए. एनीथिंग दैट वी प्लान टुडे नीड्स टू हैव अ होराइजन ऑफ अ डिकेड एटलीस्ट. और जैसा कि हम सब जानते हैं, pound currency assumed the first international standard in 19th century. After that, US dollar has been in a dominant position for over a century now. Thus, rupee going global seems to be a dream come true in the times to come.
A big round of applause for the distinguished panelists and the moderators, please.
Thank you. Nice telling you. Thank you. Nice telling you. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. आपका नाम सही है ना? वो सही है कि नहीं वो देख लो. Thank you.
Heading towards the last technical session of the day, India's journey to digital inclusion started with the implementation of the world's largest identity project, Aadhaar, giving all citizens a platform to have a digital identity. But looks like COVID-19 pandemic has pulled the future of digitization on a much forward track.
Next in line is artificial intelligence, which is baking into new realms, from Siri to automated cars to metaverse. Over the past few years, the increased adoption of this emerging technology is paving the way for a more digitally inclusive society.
नेहा, सेशन स्टार्ट से पहले ये तो बताओ, तुम आज कॉन्फ्रेंस में लेट कैसे हो गई?
एक्चुअली अंकित, कॉन्फ्रेंस की एग्जैक्ट लोकेशन ढूंढने में देर हो गई.
अगर कॉन्फ्रेंस इनविटेशन कार्ड को ध्यान से देखा होता तो टाइम सेव होता.
मैंने एड्रेस देखा था.
अरे मैं इनविटेशन कार्ड पे छपे क्यूआर कोड की बात कर रहा हूं, उस पे क्लिक करके अगर एग्जैक्ट लोकेशन पे आ जाती।
ओ, ये डिजिटाइजेशन ऑफ एड्रेस टू क्यूआर कोड तो मैंने देखा ही नहीं।
ये डिजिटाइजेशन अच्छा तो है, पर मेरा इस पे डिवाइडेड ओपिनियन है। आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस हम ह्यूमंस को रिप्लेस कर देगी या हमारी एफिशिएंसी और बढ़ा देगी?
So let's find out from our this last technical session that will use of these new technologies be an intermittent disruptor or a game changer?
The panel for this topic consists of illustrious speakers from diverse fields. From banking sector, we now invite our first panelist, CA Sanjay Agarwal ji, MD and CEO of AU Finance Bank. May I request you to please come on the stage, sir. Mr. Agarwal is a first generation entrepreneur, a true visionary, a pioneer of financial inclusion. A merit holder chartered accountant, Mr. Agarwal founded AU Financials in 1996, which in 2017 became the only asset financing NBFC to successfully convert into a small finance bank. Later, it became a scheduled commercial bank and a Fortune 500 company.
From the global conglomerate in digital sector, we invite CA Vishal Jain, MD Accenture. So please raise the dais. He is an MBA, a certified public accountant, and has also done Leadership Excellence Program from Harvard Business School. Additionally, he is the Six Sigma belt holder, which has led him to go deeper into finding the whys of the problems. He has worked in many different roles, all centered around technology processes, data-led transformations in various companies.
Joining us next from the decision analytics sector is Dr. Swati Jain. She is Vice President, Decision Analytics at EXL Service. May I please request you to come on the stage, ma'am? She is a seasoned professional with over 2 decades of analytics and consulting experience and leading a world-class team of data scientists and professionals. She is a PhD Economics from IIT Delhi and a master's holder in business economics from Delhi University. Few of her notable accolades includes top 11 women AI leaders in India in 2020, 21 women in 2021 by India AI, the National AI Portal of India.
From FinTech sector, we now invite our next panelist, Dr. Ravi Modani, founder of One-to-One Finance, which is India's first NBFC factor after RBI's Jan 2020 regulations, which provides factoring and working capital finances to MSMEs. He's currently working on a huge opportunity that lies with the effective and efficient working capital management to go B2B trading. His goal is to enable every buyer and seller in India to get their smallest invoices discounted 24/7 with zero human intervention using artificial intelligence and machine learning.
डिजिटाइजेशन का एक और लाइव एग्जाम्पल है हमारे नेक्स्ट पैनलिस्ट सीए अभिषेक अग्रवाल, जो हमें यूएस से लाइव ज्वाइन कर रहे हैं. He is a rank holder in CA Inter and Final. Post qualification, Abhishek took a non-traditional path where he joined Infosys Mysore office, learned technology, and worked with Infosys on designing global accounting systems. Presently, he is working with Infosys as general manager for large strategic relationships, where he oversees worldwide business worth $125 million US.
Accompanying him again online and from US is Mr. Mayank Mandovra. Mr. Mandovra is a Senior Director, Solution Architect and Product Management at Embedded FinTech, FinServe, United States. His passion for technology, or in other words, passion for use of technology to simplify complex problems, defined the growth in his career path. From starting as a software engineer and architect in Bank of America, he rose to the position of Vice President of Application Development in Citibank to head Cloud Data VENEC.
To throw more light on this topic, we also request Dr. Shailesh Jhanwar.
Welcome, Mayank. Can you hear Mayank? Can you hear me, Mayank?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Hello, Sanjay.
Abhishek, can you hear me? Yeah,
Yes, we can hear you well.
To throw more light on this topic, we also request Dr. Shailesh Jhanwar to take the dais along with Mr. Sanjay Jhanwar to steer the session. Dr. Shailesh is a director at Apex Hospital and has pioneered in setting up eICU in Jaipur, which helps in providing tertiary care to hospitals in small towns. A huge round of applause for this illustrious panel.
We request the moderators to begin the session.
First of all, is my mic on? Everyone can hear me? First of all, sorry to bother you this early morning in United States, but we have tried to accommodate you by keeping our session at the end, so that it could be your morning, our evening. Sorry to bother you, but this was necessary, and this was the only time where the Indian panelists and the US panelists were available. With that, I have a brilliant panel here, and also my co-moderator, Dr. Shailesh Jhanwar, and we have a group of, for every session we made a group for discussion and for setting up the chemistry in between the panelists, so that when we come on stage with you, we are not strangers to each other. And when we set up the chemistry, then Dr. Ravi raised some questions. So he raised, how do I address you? Because there are two Sanjay on dais. And there are two Jhanwar on dais, so I cannot call you Sanjay because there are two Sanjay, and there are two Jhanwar, so I cannot call you Jhanwar. And he himself is a doctor, so he cannot call him doctor. So he said, there's a lot of confusion. I said, you can call me Mr. Moderator. So that is the moderate solution. And that's how we started the chat. And we are all comfortable except Sanjay, who was quite busy, and his assistant was on the chat rather than he himself. We all were on the chat. I don't know whether you get time these days to look at the chats. It was there. So by the time the conference started, you sent a message. Okay. So now let us start the session. And I like that this session is driven by a professional doctor. I would like to introduce him to you. He is not from your subject. He is not from economics, not a chartered accountant, either a lawyer. Now, he is an ICU expert. The qualification which he holds from United Kingdom is managing critical care. He is critical care management expert. And why he's here then? What he's doing here is not his subject, and you do not know anything about his subject. He does not know anything about what you do. So why he's here? Now he is a leader in a mission, and that mission is, virtual ICU. He's running his ICU from his place in 40 cities in Rajasthan. So in different villages or cities where people cannot afford to come to Jaipur because they cannot bear the travel expenditure, or although they can bear, but they do not have any acquaintance in Jaipur, or they do not have any accompanying person to spare their time for 7 or 8 days or 10 days. You do not know when you come back or where you will go from ICU. So he is giving that service. That's not just his business, it's a mission to provide service at the doorstep of villages where the medical services are not there, right from the ICU. Many other services, but right from ICU. When the person is not in a position, understand this, there is a car accident on any road in village, person is not in a position to come to Jaipur because the life remaining without medical care is less than 3 hours. He can be admitted in the closest ICU and they'll monitor it from here. They'll direct that this injection should be given, this is how it should be given, that should be the proportion. So he'll be sitting on the screen. Now he has a large team, and it is a kind of startup which he has taken up out of Apex Hospital. It's a branch of Apex Hospital, but he's doing it an independent affair. And as I understand, correct if I'm wrong, that venture capitalists, when they invested in him, he clearly said, no, you are investing in everything, not in this. So this is out of your investment. Because it's nothing for you today, but I see a large future in this. So I thought that who could be a right person to envisage the technical advancement 5 years ago, that this is going to become reality and very important for all of us. So I thought that he must be a person who asks you a question. But please understand, don't be worried. He's not be asking question to you out of his hospital problem, medical problem. He has sat with my team of research on this topic. They have interacted for 5 days, came out with questions. They were posted on the group. And after your suggestions, we have revised them, and now we are asking all those questions. Over to you, Dr. Jhanwar. Yeah, doctor. But we are not in ICU. So he is ICU doctor. All right. So he'll be managing the show today.
Thank you.
It's not working, I think. Is it? Yeah. Is it on?
So,
Yeah.
thank you, Sanjay sir. Thank you for this introduction. It's very kind of you. So, I think most of you've got a message on your mobile, and it is a link to a poll.
Please see your mobile.
Please see your mobile. I think when
You
you're
have received a
registered,
message.
when
And
you're
because this is a
registered-
session on digital transformation,
So-
they are starting with some form of digital display.
So Sanjay sir was very insistent that we interact a lot. We find a new way of interacting with you. So if you have received a link, I would like you to start doing this poll. Maybe the first question is, do you have any online banking apps on your phone, or are you using digital wallets or UPI for all your banking transactions? So if you can just see the
Please
answers.
raise your hand if you have received the app, link to the app. Good, excellent. No, there is no one. There is no one. You need to work hard. No, you need to work hard.
So can
Yes.
we just see the results?
Anyone with AU app? All right, good, excellent. Now, yes,
So can you
now
see?
he's guiding you what to do.
70% of us are using an app. So my next
Now
question.
see, whatever you have mentioned there, tick that, we have the results here, right from the app. Now that is digital transformation. What you are doing on your app, we are getting the result here. 70% of you are saying that yes, you have an app or digital wallet on your mobile, but you have a good market, Sanjay, 30% is very big. 30% may represent, what kind of population? 70% is good enough. All right, good. So he says, I'll first target those 70% if they are not in my fold, and then I'll target the remaining 30. Perhaps Dr. Ravi would say, I'll forget 70. I'll focus only on 30. No, he's that man. So he's not a startup. So what he'll do, understand from him, he gives loan of 27 rupees also. So today evening, if I'm going for, the cheapest restaurant or McDonald's, I don't have 54 rupees to pay for a burger. Now he can give loan to me of 54 rupees, which I can repay tomorrow with interest. Now that's what is technology. He is giving that loan of 54 rupees where? Jaipur में? नहीं, कोयम्बटूर में. उनका लोन 27 रुपए का यहाँ से हजारों किलोमीटर दूर दिया गया और वो वापस रिकवर हुआ. Lot of things is just one example. So we have microfinancing. What could be microfinancing through digital? That is what this is a teaching class, last one. Others were where we and you are equals. Here we have teachers here who will teach us, educate us in artificial intelligence, in digital era. How do we behave? What should we learn to make ourselves relevant and most useful? Thank you. Yes.
So I think moving on very quickly, because I want the interaction to start very soon. So the next question, do you have an online health life insurance app on your phone, or use online insurance facility through an apps to renew or buy new insurance? So we just wanted to see how many people are using banking and how many people are using health online. Can we just have the answers?
Healthcare app, only 33.
So definitely banking has got something to learn that we can definitely learn.
I'm saying that you have to extend your arms. I know that, but there are ways to do that. Somebody has taught this morning.
So moving on quickly. Do you have any concerns regarding data security, data privacy in having these apps on your personal device?
आप मोबाइल में टिक करिए साहब, तब आपका रिजल्ट आएगा. हाँ? Hello. Yeah.
Okay. Can we see the answer?
60.
Okay. So I think there is some concern which will try and address. I think there are a lot of information that you will get from this panel today. The second last question, do you consume content or fulfill your entertainment needs through an OTT app or subscription? Just wait for 5 seconds and then.
Please answer in your mobile.
Can we see the answers?
85%. Oh. Do you consume content or fulfill your entertainment needs through OTT apps? This is much more than your banking. So what are you doing then? No, banking is a necessity. I thought this is for free time. All right.
So the last question. So multiple surveys have shown that digital revolution was bound to happen with or without the pandemic. Of course, COVID acted as a catalyst. So in the year 2022, when so many meetings are virtual, would you still prefer a physical meeting or virtual meetings as the way of conducting business? So I think just to conclude this, we wanted to generate some discussion, as Sanjay sir said, why people are using more OTT platforms and less banking and no healthcare. So can we just
I prefer virtual meeting 67%. All right, I prefer physical face meeting 33%. नहीं मैं देख रहा हूँ कि मेरे रजिस्ट्रेशन ये वाले 1000 हुए तो बाकी के कितने हुए हैं वर्चुअल वाले कितने हुए हैं आई एम जस्ट लुकिंग एट दैट अच्छा ओके ऑलराइट
कैन वी स्टार्ट
बाफना जी से ऑथेंटिकेटेड है सारा हमारा पोल अब इसके आगे कुछ बोलोगे तो उनको स्टेज पे बुला लूंगा वो आपको चुप करने के लिए क्या करूं मैं यस
So, getting on to the panel questions. So, my first question is to Mr. Sanjay Agarwal. And, sir, a lot of surveys have been done recently. There is one survey from a consulting firm on Deloitte in 2020. And the findings of the 2021 survey show that was a tremendous increase in interaction in terms of customer loan, in terms of banking. And we thought they were only momentary because COVID था, इसलिए वो interactions बढ़ गए. हमने भी यहाँ देखा कि बहुत सारे लोगों के पास में banking apps हैं. So, do you think people have started interacting with banking because there was a necessity when the pandemic was there? Or do you think the growth in the banking sector, which was bound to happen, COVID just acted as a catalyst? Or what is happening in the banking sector which is making all this very conducive? Because definitely we talk about that banking is becoming easier, more financial transactions. So just wanted to know on your experience.
So thank you, Shailesh, and good evening, everybody. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for giving me this opportunity. Amazing function. It's not so frequent to see in Jaipur, but I think you're changing the Jaipur landscape, more and more for this. So I think, the first change, honestly, I'm sitting here, I'm a chartered accountant, and only a lender, and you're asking pure chartered accountant, a question of tech, right? I think my CIO or my strategy around tech would have been here, right? But I think the necessity around, the whole necessity of building bank as a tech or a tech as a bank has come up from last 10, 12 years. You know, I still believe that CBS, the central banking system, right, the core banking system, which was, came through your Infosys in way back 2000, right, which actually integrated entire bank branches, and then banks started becoming seamless, right? Your credit cards, right, your ATMs, your ATM card, all has done in last 20, 25 years. So bank always has adopted their tech in advance. What we are seeing in last 10 years, maybe around more edutech, more e-commerce, more, entertainment, all those things more in mobile. But I strongly believe that bank always remain like this, and I strongly believe the reason would be that we have a very strong regulator, very, very strong regulator who always look for future, right? And I can give you one example, like, I think 5 years back, there was compulsion that a customer has to go and meet a bank official to open an account, right? And come COVID, and RBI allowed us to open an account through video banking. So there is no physical meeting required. Customer had just log into the website or any kind of app of bank and then open the account. Not only open the account, they can do the transaction also. You can transfer 10 lakh, 20 lakh, you can call your money, you can take wealth advice, you can change your mobile number, everything, right? Through video banking. So we actually not meeting now customer. So I think I would say, because we are very regulated and we have everything around KYC, how you want to open account, how you want to do service. I think our regulator, we are very fortunate that regulator in India is very, very progressive. And because of him also, why people use more banking app? Because they feel it's secured. They feel that it has standardization. They feel that it is, because banking is not about not much innovation. It is about standardization of a product and delivery of products, right? So I think that is why customers are more convenient enough. For them, it's more convenient enough to use the apps. Because, चाहे मेरा करोगे, चाहे SDFC का करोगे, चाहे किसी का भी करोगे, largely rules will be same, right? So easy to adopt it. So that's one thing, right? Second, I think COVID has helped a lot, but I think it's just a fast tracked it. Because we believe that at AU, we have around 3 million customers, 30 lakh customers हैं हमारे. 50% customer use our app. And when we started our journey in 17, 18, there was no COVID, right? But we opened our 90% account, we opened around 2 million customers till now. 90% means 1.8, right? 18 lakh account, saving K within half an hour on tap. You don't require any paper, right? You just require your thumb. And we were talking back now, we always say in AU ki aapka angutha anutha hai. So I think because of the whole innovation in this industry over the years, I would say from last 20, 25 years, people have really worked on the banking apps, banking solutions, because banking means scale. Banking means uniformity across the world. So, yadi Accenture hai, Oracle, if they build something in US, that can be implemented in India, right? Or something which is built in India can be implemented in that area. So I think people has built much innovation in banking services, solutions. And with the help of the regulator, I think those things has been adopted, or those things has been pushed in a very, very sober or very architectural way. And now, because of this evidence of the tech adoption in this country has in last 10 years, I think banking app is getting popular and popular, and people are feeling very secure. And in my opinion, in next 10 years, I would say that bank means an app. The bank that will not mean a branch. Bank will mean an app that will be the gateway to the bank. And if you don't have an app, you won't be surviving it. If you have a good app, then you should have a good video banking. So somebody who won't be easy to use app, he can call up on the video banking, and his job should be done there, right? And if he's not there, not on app, neither on video banking, then the bank should ask a question, why he should come in the branch, right? And in my opinion, Sanjay ji, only the solution as a banker we are looking is a cash. If you ask me, if you get 100 customers in a branch on a daily basis, 90 people come for cash
Deposit or withdrawal?
Withdrawal is also done through ATMs.
Okay.
So I think it's more about commercial transaction, which the cash deposition and a cash withdrawal. If you take this item out of the branch, we don't require branch now. We don't require branch.
I remember.
And that to bearer. आप भी नहीं आ रहे हो. जो भी commercial customer है, वो खुद नहीं आ रहा है. Bearer आ रहा है, right? So we as a banker are really looking to that कि यार करना क्या है इसका? Because why we are opening that luxury or a posh kind of branch with so much of OPEX around it, so much of compliance around it. But I think as an Indian, we always believe that bank दिखता है तो bank अच्छा है. But I think in next 10 years, I strongly believe, and I think this is my view, that the next trust.
It's surprising that it will still take 10 years to think of.
Yes, because as a human, transition take times. Transition take times.
Well,
खुद ही सुधरने में इतना time लग गया.
I'll tell you something.
Yeah.
For about 18 years,
Yeah.
I went to Australia and there was a function at Sydney Harbour. And I just asked, what is this function about? There was a board of a bank. They said, today we were able to close our 200 more branches, so that is a celebration. So now we would like to reduce it to just one headquarter, and every vendor should be our. So that time the apps were not there, but they were saying that every vendor should become our branch. A machine seller, a car seller, a hospital, they'll be our branch, they'll approve.
Yeah.
So if it was there 18 years ago, do you think in banking we are so lacking and behind?
No, sir. What happened? Banking does not mean only about liability management or a deposit management. It is also about loan. It is also about wealth advice. It is also about many other things which branch can do, right? So what I want to say that, I'm just giving a rough number. I'm not the maths guy, right?
What will happen to your workforce? Now, what will happen to your workforce?
No. I think workforce will be there because banking is not dry. Banking is not dry, right? We need to build relationship, right? But I think for me, tech is a channel. It's not a product.
You need workforce only for this reason. I get 2 calls every day from any of your EU persons.
I won't say.
FDR बनाने के.
No, sir. I won't say that because people need to understand the banking product. They need to understand what we offer as FD, what we offer as a saving account, what we offer as current account. Sometimes people read, sometimes they're not able to understand. Sometimes it's relationship also, right? Because I know you. That's the confidence to do banking with us, right? I think relationship will exist in this world. And I think the degree can be up and down. But I think the most important thing which I want to say the public at large is this, that as historic data, banking trust means legacy or a government sector. The more older you are or more bigger you are, or you have some kind of sovereign guarantee, you are trustworthy. But next 10 years, because of tech, if you are able to build the trust, if you are able to build security, if you are able to build availability, if you are able to build convenience, you are able to build customer obsession, you are able to build flexibility, customer will prefer more on this than a legacy or your previous vintage. People will believe, मेरा अच्छा ऐप होगा ना सर, तो लोग मेरे साथ ही काम करेंगे, right? And it happened in e-commerce, right? Because my wife Jyoti, used to 10 years back when she used to order on e-commerce, वो cash on delivery करती थी. पहले माल देखती थी, फिर पैसा देती थी, right? But now after 10 years, I see in my house corner there's an Amazon of 10 packets. मैं पूछता हूँ तुमने चेक ही नहीं किया, पेमेंट कर दिया इसको. बोलता है अब चेक करने की जरूरत नहीं है, all are reliable. I think the change has happened, right? Because if you can convince ladies, then anything can happen in this world. so I think the banking will also go through this, that it's not about SBI, it's about who offer you a better product through better channel at his convenient time, at his cost, at his will, with a lot of flexibility. Like we just introduced one credit card which is customizable, right? Which we say कि आपको ये लेना है तो आप लीजिए, ये छोड़ना है छोड़िए, which is app driven. So we are not pushing you for product, right? We are pushing you for your own choice, right? I think that is why I believe that is permanent, right? It just, मतलब I think जो भी बोल रहा होगा कि ये अभी आ गया है, आगे नहीं होगा, then let's not fool ourselves. It's
Sanjay,
permanent.
one more
Yeah,
thing,
yeah.
as a supplementary to what you mentioned,
Yeah.
more value-added
Yeah.
services and all that,
Yeah.
you will be competing on the quality and the value-added services rather than other things,
Yeah.
or rather than number of branches or other things
Yeah.
in future. The supplementary is, I heard from one of the deputy governors of RBI that what we are looking for from these new banks now, in terms of value-added services, I said, what more value-added you want? They say that we want that in times to come, in 5 years, they should prepare the trial balance of people, books of people, and hand it over to them on app. And they say that it's because they'll be having the GST number and the transaction reference, and because there'll be a blockchain and all references would be there, they'll have their bank account, all payments would be tagged to the transaction, invoices can be linked to that, debtor book can be prepared by them, creditor book can be prepared by them. So they'll be the persons, so persons would not need accountants, and bankers would be accountants also. Bankers would send the reminder for payment also on behalf of them. Is it really going to happen?
तो सर ये हो रहा है.
All right?
स्वाति जी बैठी हैं यहाँ पे. She will agree on data analytics side. If I have a bank account of you, and it's your commercial account with me, a current account, and you have been working with me for last 3 years, I can build your balance sheet on basis of receipt and the payments, and we do that. Our credit
You have not done for me at least.
No, sir, आपके पास आते भी तो नहीं है ना. इतने हैवी नहीं. तो बड़े अकाउंट की बात कर रहे हैं सर थोड़े मतलब. सर वो खर्चा
I got your point.
नहीं सर माफ कीजिए
I
सर.
got it. I'll try to
नहीं
meet
yes
your
sir
expectations.
मतलब वो तो आपको कोशिश करनी है सर अभी मतलब journey just started. So I think what happens is we are doing this. Credit guys are supposed to build some kind of data which allows them to understand कि यार इसका क्या sale है, क्या इसका खर्चा है, and there are lot many companies which do this, right? So and which is integrated to systems. हमको खुद को कुछ नहीं करना सर. There are so many partners available in ecosystem which gives all the services to us, right? And we are building those things. So आपने कहा कि payment, if you start using bill system of bank, will remind you कि आपका इस बार का टेलीफोन का बिल पेमेंट नहीं किया आपने, मतलब बिजली का नहीं हुआ.
ऑफिस में जो चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट रखते हैं उनकी जरूरत नहीं है.
नहीं सर देखिए मैं खुद चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट, देखिए सर सब सारे चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट को बैंक बनाना चाहिए.
फिर आपका क्या होगा फिर?
Sir, I am giving you better solution, sir.
So, all right.
I think so very interesting, and I think you can see we can talk about this. But I just want to see from a US perspective. I think Mayank ji is there. So it's from you're purely from technology side, and you are at the intersection of the financial technology innovation, and you're working in US. So how do you compare the asset management industry maturity in India versus the US? And how do you see, I think what Sanjay ji has said right now, and the moderator, Mr. Moderator, has asked me to address him like that. And how do you think the technology is going to disrupt the market in the future? So my two questions to you. One is the asset market, US and your India. And secondly is, how do you see from a US perspective, India has just become the fifth largest economy a couple of days back, that how the technology is going to be used to disrupt the financial market?
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Moderator, and thank you, Mr. Jhanwar. Really appreciate it. So I have been in the financial industry in the US for almost more than 2 decades, working in New York and New Jersey. And I have seen firsthand the transformation of the industry. And most of the US 401k or IRA, which is the retirement, right now is held in, used to be held in something called mutual funds, right, which is very popular in India as well right now. So other than your household real estate or your cash fixed deposit, one of the biggest asset class in US is mutual funds, because we have one of the largest capital markets. And the whole industry of the mutual fund has been very, I'll say, you'll typically, if you go and look at the fact sheets of a mutual fund, it will give you top 10 holdings, right? And those top 10 holdings doesn't give you full transparency. You buy a mutual fund today morning, you don't know at what price it will close in the evening when it closes, right? So over last 10 years or so, in US, the whole new financial products which came through, and actually I worked for one of the largest firm which brought this revolution to build new indexes and to build exchange traded funds. So what's the revolution there, right? So the first part is building various strategies, right? Today you want to say, I want to buy stocks which invest in electric cars, okay, or or digital revolution, right? So those, for doing that, now you are in India, you have to buy a specific mutual fund or specific stocks, but they cannot trade real time. So if you want to trade that real time, you have no other financial instrument right now in India. But in US, what we have done is we have created these strategies and indexes, and the exchange traded funds, which also trade real time, are extremely low cost. So this has reduced the cost, and this has brought a lot of transparency. So in exchange traded funds, you can see I have these 30 stocks, right? And I'm trading at this price real time. And that is one of the biggest revolution which I'm seeing in the asset management industry over the last 10 to 15 years. I think your second question was about the digital revolution, probably in the payment sector.
So just
right?
building upon what I think Mr. Sanjay Agarwal has said, banks, and I think Dr. Ravi Modania was speaking to him backstage, and he said banks will not be there. It will be just be an app. So, disruption has already happened, and I think the moderator said why it has taken 18 years. So what do you think how this acceleration is going to happen in the next 5 years in financial markets being disrupted with technology?
Yeah, so I work for a processor company called Pfizer. So we process world's 40% of transactions right now, both on banking and on card and bill payment sector. And what I am seeing is we are creating some open API, open finance platforms right now, which is going to be very, very disruptive. You see in your own life, Jio just announced, okay, you can shop using your WhatsApp, right? In China, people are using WeChat already to make all their financial transactions, right? Whether sending cash to each other or buying things like flowers or anything, and your groceries online. But the digital revolution has accelerated. In my firms, we are doing embedded fintech, right? What you saw with Jio announcing, doing on WhatsApp, there's something very real we are doing in embedded fintech, which is to allow any small retailer, any mom and pop shop to easily integrate financial transactions in their own life. Whether you're a property manager, you're a small shop, whether you are an accounting firm or you're a lawyer, you don't have to go through an extremely expensive channel to accept payment. And that is something which is coming up in technology. And even I see we are in US and you're in India, we are experimenting with another project called using stable coins right now to have a very low cost cross-border payments. So those technologies is going to be really revolutionary in terms of ease of use and how things will come up in future, both in worldwide.
Okay, thank you. So it's excellent. I think we've heard from the banking industry, and I think we have Mr. Vishal Jain. So, sir, from a global banking firm, now you moved to a global consulting firm. So, previously, I think you were getting yourself ready as a banking firm, ready for digital transformation. Now you are consulting or advising people how they should get ready for digital transformation. And you probably meet a variety of people in the industry. So, what is your take on the industries other than banking which are going through this process of digital transformation? How do you see this happening? You can take it.
Hello. So just for a minute on the earlier points, because before my current role, I was CFO of American Express India. And before that, for 5 years, I was in the space of data strategy and insights for customers using the transaction data. So the point, Sanjay, you mentioned, using customers, all the spend information, what if we provide customers insights about where are they spending money? Hey, how much money are you spending on watching movies? Or how much are you spending on Amazon versus this and this? That is so much of a delight for an end customer to get for better financial management. So the point around trial balance sheet is not very far. Very much every company is thinking of monetizing data, because in the payment ecosystem, in UPI, we are not charging anything. But the way to make money is providing value-added services, and insights are a great ways to give value to the end customer. So that is point one. I think to the question you mentioned is, first of all, many years back, Accenture came up with the technology trend. I think it was 5-6 years back that digital first is the trend. It's not that you build your business and think about digitizing it. Every business, every single part of the business, whether it's a traditional manufacturing to the jeweler to the otherwise, they have to think through that how I built it around a digital ecosystem first. And as an exception, I build my manual processes or a branch as an example. That where I need branch is more trust. So rather than other way around, that I build a bank and then I try to digitize it. So that I think the digital first is the biggest thing, which is the call for action. Of course, we will continue to see the pace going up and up. Now we are hearing about metaverse. In the last 8 months itself, metaverse has become so much of in thing. It is scary to see that how fast things are unfolding. So that's point number one. Around that is the point number two, around what we call total reinvention. Every business, every professional has to rethink how do we reinvent ourselves to be relevant, because you could be disrupted by your competition or competition you never heard of, or that competition could be sitting in Jaipur providing virtual remote ICU services, right? Somebody in the world would never imagine to be aware of you, right? So the total reinvention means everything which is happening in the process, in the finance process, to procurement, to the marketing, to the way you sell to the end customer and your services, the way you provide customer services, everything has to be relooked at. And AI, analytics, digital is a great way of adding value, unlocking value. And there are examples in terms of every part of the business which can be reimagined around that. I think that's the biggest thing for every one of us to think about, and that's how we see the industry unlocking. I think every single industry has changed. In front of us, beyond the payment industry, the milk basket, we rely on services on the point on trust. Milk basket will really leave in Gurgaon, I live in. They will, by 5:30 in the morning, they will leave the grocery. Nobody will be even knocking on your door. They go on the trust that if the customer has a problem, if I complain this was not good, they will give the money refund. They are not relying on that, hey, I want to see your picture and all, right? The business has reinvented itself, and that has become part of my life. And I'm quoting milk basket here, because the technology, the business is built around the entire new ecosystem rather than old way of thinking. That's the way I look at it.
So thank you. So I think what you're trying to say is there is no other way around. So the process has to start digital. So the starting point is digital.
That's right.
There is, and on that you have to build your strategy.
100%.
So thank you for that. So I think building on from banking, and then I think digital is the way forward, and technology is going to become a very important part in whatever business you do. So the choice is not that whether you do it or not, that is the way forward. So my next question is to Mr. Abhishek Agarwal. So thank you, sir, for joining. Just a very basic example I want to take. Recently, again, new iPhone launched, 79,000 or something. And in 2017, the iPhone launched, iPhone X, and it was priced at 1 lakh rupees. So in 5 years, the technology has gone further. The specifications of a mobile device is improved. And here we are thinking about, and the price has come down. So when you are thinking about installing technology or driving digital, how do you think as a company? Because do you wait? Because technology, if you are the first mover, it is expensive. If you wait too long, you are late. So I just want to understand what is your take on it? How do you think about it? And if somebody asks you for your advice, should I go early for a technology or should I wait? How do you look at this problem?
Thank you, Shailesh. And I want to start by congratulating Mr. Sanjay and Chair Amrit team to actually organize this event. And thank you for inviting us. It's exciting to be part of such an event with such great thought-provoking ideas, actually. So, I want to start by saying, actually, every business is a tech business, actually, right? It's just that some of them are still to realize it. So, I've been in technology business for 20 odd years. Every year, I've seen the tech cost, cost has gone down, the tech efficiency going up, right? And it is not by accident, but by design. So if you really look at it, the compute capacity in today's smartphones is actually higher than the compute capacity of the mainframe computers or the supercomputers probably a few decades ago. And we spoke about a lot of businesses in the last 45 minutes. If you really think about the building block of all of that conversation is actually the advancement of technology, right? The faster phones, the faster internet access, the broader internet access. If you really look at it, that is the fundamental at the core of what's happening today, right? So technology is actually not being seen as a cost center anymore, right? It's actually a profit center. You can look at so many businesses that actually are getting created just because of the access to the technology in various shapes and forms. Like you look at ride-sharing businesses like Lyft and Uber. You look at self-driving cars like Teslas and so many more. Platform businesses like DoorDash, Swiggy, Zomato, social platforms, right? Facebook, or that's old now, TikTok, WhatsApp, WeChat, and so on and so forth. And brokerage firms, right? I think Mayank is in the US. There's a firm that started the entire business on mobile, actually, right? You go to Robinhood as an app, you can do all your trading of all fancy instruments in the world actually on the app. They don't have a call center, they don't have a branch. Everything that you do is actually via app, right? And that is one of the big reasons of such a massive take in the market in the US, actually, the more you read about Robinhood, right? So the point I'm making is, advancement in technology has actually led to creating businesses, not only in banking or insurance, which are the, which we typically know as the early adopters of technology, but there are newer businesses that actually are created at the helm of, these advancements, actually, right? So I think your point around should you be the early adopters, the answer is absolutely right. I think instead of trying to use technology as saying, oh, there's a blockchain in the market or there's a non-fungible token in the market, so I should be, be the first one to adopt it. I think the key is to figure out what is the business relevance of that technology to my trade that I am in, or what innovation that it can bring in. And you should be at the forefront of adopting that, right? Now the question is, how do you fund it, right? I'm like, of course I want to try the most fancy stuff, but there's a cost to doing everything, right? So I think in our experience, we have seen a typical CIO spending money into three broad buckets, right? The cost of hardware, software, network, technology, telecom, all of that. which basically is designed to actually go low year on year, right? Then you have a run and operate cost. Mr. Sanjay would know, when the core banking application goes down, you can't sleep. I'm like, you're talking about 20 million, like 2 million customers or 3 million customers actually not being able to do, transactions, and your quarterly results getting impacted, right? So which is the run and operate cost, whereby you have people who are constantly monitoring, managing the transactions and ensuring that everything is up and running. The third important piece is this entire innovation spend, right? The spend that an entity is making around, or a CIO is making around building new apps, trying new technologies, and all of that, right? So in our experience, what we are seeing is the CIOs are focused on reducing the spend in bucket 1 and 2, which is the hardware, software, as well as the run and operate spend, and using AI and technology to do that, right? So we are talking about self-healing systems. We are talking about data-driven, support of the applications, all of that, right? Or even no call center at all, right? So, using tech to reduce the spend in bucket 1 and 2, and using those dollars that you're saving to actually spend on the bucket 3, which is for innovation, new technology adoption, building new apps and all, right? So I think the question is not about whether you should do it. The question is how fast you can do it actually.
That is right, Abhishek, but the point which I raised at the beginning, I still don't get the answer, that what is the duration, what is the time gap now? What is the generation gap of the technology now between US and India? What they are getting today, are we going to get after years, or is going after months, or how do you see that? What do you do in US? Both of you are there, so you are in tech sector, and you are connected to India. You also know, you have your bank accounts in India, both of you. You have your businesses and houses there. Are we saying that what's happening in US today will happen here after 10 years or 5 years? Because what I see, in certain things, India is much ahead than US now, even on digital. And you have the example, can you just show? Where we are getting a digital immunization certificate.
Abhishek, sir,
the kind of work that you can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Abhishek, can you pause for a moment? I would like to run a video.
Sure.
Yeah. Our External Affairs Minister.
I went when they opened up travel to America in 2021, and my son lives in America, and I asked him, saying, we were going to a restaurant and they wanted to see our COVID certificate, vaccine certificate. So I showed them my phone. My son, from his wallet, produced a paper which was folded in a thing and said, okay, this is my certificate. And I looked at his paper and I asked myself, okay, this is where they are and this is, but now they moved on.
So my question back to both of you, our External Affairs Minister says that his son, citizen and resident of US, brings out a paper, and we bring out our mobile app and say that this is our immunization certificate. In certain things we are much ahead, but we are talking of banking or some other sectors where you are talking of certain things, and here what I get, the clue which I get is still there is a time gap. Still India would take some time. So
I think Dr. Swati and Dr. Ravi are very itching to say something.
All right, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
I will just add here that we work with Fortune 500 companies. We service clients in India also. And one of the biggest company globally, we are servicing in India as well. And see, all the ML and the AI engine, what they are building, they are getting to go and speak and educate their US counterparts on how they are doing all these transformative artificial intelligence projects in India. So I would say that India is, if say suppose today there's an Amazon Go store in the US where you can just enter in with your Amazon ID, pick up anything and move out. Cashierless. There's no cashier for you to make payments and the bill will come on your app. So all that is just because we have not tried to do it. If we try to do it, it is people sitting here who are actually enabling it. So I would say we are not far at all.
All right. Yeah. Thank you. What do you say on this?
Yeah, thank you. So I think that's a very key point because, the matter we have been talking about is standardization, right? So with all the chartered accountants over here, you have INJ standards. So the moment you have standards made by a third party, which is a regulator, the transparency increases, and then that's where the ecosystem broadens. So what's happening probably in the US and what's happening in India? Why? So maybe I'll just put up another question, which is the biggest export from India going to happen now? UPI. Now with UPI going live integration with Singapore, that will be the biggest. I mean, you can't think of doing the export like UPI from India, right? Why is it possible? I'll come back to where, remember 20 years ago, we had banks. Somebody was using a Finacle by maybe Infosys, somebody was using Omniflex, blah and blah and blah, right? And then, standardization means talking to each other. Aaj we are talking in a language in English. So English is a standard. Everybody can communicate to each other. So data needs to communicate to each other to make it standardized, right? What happens in the West properly is the proprietorship of the data. If I have a data which I own and I don't open up for somebody else to use that data, this can't go up. Can you imagine UPI happening in India without all the banks talking to each other? So who did that? That was a standard made by the government. So basically, if you want to escalate the entire digitization AI at the different level, the involvement of a third party, which is the ecosystem players or the government, is very important. So what government in India has done, we all know about UPI, right? What government has done in India, we are part of that story as well, is the open credit limits, of course, which is the lending ecosystem. So what government basically is doing is they are making digital rails. On that rails,
I think what you are trying to make out is the moment we have a data registry or data custodian, we'll move much faster than US.
Absolutely.
And that's the real problem. That's
Absolutely.
what you are trying to say?
Yeah. One is registry and secondly the standards, talking to each other, right? So
that will come. Once there is a registry, LV standard.
Absolutely. So, like open APIs, which you have got standards. Okay, I have my standards, you have your own standards, and we talk to each other, we integrate to each other. Which is the next thing which is happening is can I take that national health part?
So I think I have a question to both of you. So we are talking about data, and we think data is going to be, it always said data is going to be the new oil. And I think India is at the forefront of doing this with technology and with people. We have processes now. I think we are not behind. So first of all, I want to ask ma'am. So a lot of young people are here, or maybe parents are here. So what do you think there is a future, because you interact with a lot of B school students? If data is going to be the new currency or the new oil, how can somebody make a career in data or AI? That is my first question to you.
Sure. So, just elaborating a little on that. So, I work in a company where we provide data analytics services to Fortune 500 companies and a lot of companies in India. And in my team, we hire around 1,500 people from IITs, IIMs, NITs, economics institutes, statistics institutes every year from the campuses, and a similar number hired laterally. We have a team of more than 6,000 data scientists. Now, in terms of a career, I say two things when we talk about analytics. One is analytics in your career. Now, Sanjay ji spoke about AU, and he spoke so much about data and analytics. So be it banking, be it retail, be it insurance, be it healthcare, be it education, analytics is an integral part of your career, be it law,
courtrooms,
legal,
litigation management.
There are so much of use cases around content extraction from the legal documents. So using natural language processing. So analytics is an integral part. Data and analytics today is an integral part of every career, number one. Second, you can build a career in analytics, and now like so many universities have courses in data analytics. There's a course in BITS Pilani, ISB, IIM, Calcutta, IIT Kharagpur has a program from so long. And in fact, so many IIMs, IITs and ITs are coming up with courses in data analytics. So there's a lot there. Then Coursera, Udemy, all of these are providing so many courses. We go to the campuses, whether they have done data analytics or not, they have done so many courses from any of these open institutes. NASSCOM, the country is propagating it so much. NASSCOM has a future skills program where it provides data analytics and artificial intelligence education to population in general or to women, means to different groups. They are providing so much. Then so many magazines, associations have come up in this area. So the future is a lot. The growth rate of the industry is more than like 30 to 40%, which is phenomenal. And the demand supply gap in the data analytics industry is 50%.
So you are suggesting to the students that yes, that there's a very good, excellent career option.
Whether you want it as your career or you have it as a part of your
In any case, you have to do it.
You have to do it. You have to know it. You have to understand it.
So I think we are running, what, 2 minutes late?
Yeah, 2 minutes. So my one last question, maybe Dr. Madani, I wanted to touch about, we talked about data literacy. I think so your work about the digital empowerment and architecture and data protection, that's very important because that has to go hand in hand as when we are developing technology like that. So what is just quickly your view about and your experience?
Yes, the government of India is pretty dedicated for making sure that data which is owned by the individual is protected, right? So there are certain initiatives. So one of them is account aggregator, which is consent-driven architecture. So we are live on that. And so now instead of giving a photocopy of a document or something like that, right, I can authorize the data to be used by whom, when, for how much time, right? And the data doesn't go out from the original source. So just to give an example, whether it's my insurance policy or my bank statement, the statement stays with AU or Axis Bank, and you as an underwriter or an insurance agent, you want the information, I can just authorize, send it across to you, you underwrite that, and then it's done. This is live happening in India right now.
So you have to create entire data ecosystem and the law and regulations and frame and registry.
It's working. It's working live in India. So India has been fortunate. That's the reason that we are talking about the comparison of the US and India. That's number one. Secondly, and people are very proactive, we are working with Microsoft, and we are the first company in the country to work with Microsoft on a product called CCR, which is confidential clean rooms. So those are very high-tech rooms where the data comes and that entire information of an individual. So people are worried, we saw the poll, that we are worried that our privacy chala jayega, data chala jayega, right? So all these things which are happening, they segregate the information and only the information which is required for maybe underwriting or medical sciences, because tomorrow with the national health stack coming up, which is live right now, a lot of APIs are into open domain, a lot of health data will come into public domain as well, right? So that is something which is worrisome for people, they would not like to share that, right?
Thank you, Dr. Ravi. And I have one question where you need to answer only by a gesture, either say yes or say no, right? That's the last question for everyone on the panel. Do you think that in next 3 years' time, India in most sector would be much ahead of US when it comes to data management? I'm talking of data management. So if you think that we will be much ahead, say yes or say no. You are out of the poll. You are out of the poll. And yes, Mayank says no. Abhishek says what? Oh, joining Sanjay. All right.
There was no choice.
You're saying, Dr. Ravi, yes. What do you say? Yes? Yes?
You're saying next 3 years?
3 years? 2025. 3 years. I think everyone will prove you wrong.
I know you did not allow
I think your wife would prove you wrong.
Yeah. No, I will just.
Swati is wife of Vishal here.
Here in
Sorry.
one forum, I'm allowed to go against what my other half says. But I would just say one thing. 2nd September, just a week back, news came in Economic Times. CEO McKinsey mentioned one thing, that this is the century of India, not just the decade. And one of the reasons, one of the three reasons is digital India is a leapfrogger and will go miles ahead. Question is only of the time, 3 years you mentioned. Otherwise, there's a strong optimism.
We have, as what she mentioned, and very important what he has mentioned, and you know, what I know, and I did not want to compliment him, but I have to because I have apps of 5 banks, and I find that his app is the best. So, what I find is the young generation or the young bank or anyone, we have that power which US doesn't have, and that can help us drive faster. And that's why I'm with Swati and not with you. Thank you. And with that, I hand over back to MOCs. Thank you. So I have gained a vote. Thank you very much.
What an eye-opening session. And now it's time to felicitate our illustrious panelists and co-moderators for the session. I request Ritu Soni ma'am, Managing Partner, Chair Amrit LLP, and Mr. Rohit Ruwatia, Central Council Member, Institute of Chartered Accountants, to please.
A big round of applause for our panelists and the moderators.
Thank you all for sharing your take on data.
Sanjay, we have to find a way of, getting these e-things.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing your take on digital and AI revolution. Though the initial AI concepts were developed way back in 1950s, but it is only now that its ubiquitous application can be undertaken for human benefits.
They say that whoever will lead the AI in this decade will lead the world in the AI era. India has an opportunity to leverage its unique strengths of technology, data volume, data diversity, and talent to build a digitally inclusive society in the truest sense.
नाम देख के देना सर. इन्होंने गलत दे दिया हो तो एक्सचेंज कर लेना सर. Ravi Modani, please take this. So once again a big round.
Moving on, now it's time for our special session on ESG.
ESG? ये ESG क्या है नेहा?
Before I explain what ESG stands for, tell me, what comes to your mind when I say the word sustainability?
Ability to maintain the same level or rate?
Theoretically, it's correct. But let me tell you, sustainability is a word we often hear but don't understand the extent of the meaning. Sustainability is the key to a better future.
I request everyone, please have your seat. We have last short session, and here we have the youngest panelist, youngest panel, and my daughter is one of the panelists here. The topic is youngest, panel is youngest, and the individual, you are also there. You are also young. I know that. So please, this is a new subject, important for everyone. Please hold back. Wait for 25 more minutes, Sanjay. Please attend this session where my daughter is one of the panelists, and there are two more panelists who are equally young. Thank you.
Sustainability in business refers to doing business without negatively impacting environment, community, and society as a whole.
So ESG stands for Environmental, Social and Governance. While widely recognized, it's an umbrella term that often means different things to different people. But at its core, ESG refers to the environmental, social and corporate governance factors that provides a framework for investors seeking to invest in companies that are creating solutions to the challenges we face in today's world. Having said that, I am no expert on this topic. So, without wasting, let's welcome our expert panelist on the topic.
We invite our first panelist, Ms. Shruti Jhanwar, who is a manager, ESG Research Policy and Development, Avas Financiers Limited. She holds an LLM degree in International Law from the New York University. Ms. Shruti is a member of the Program Management Office for running green housing programs at Avas Financiers Limited since the initiative's inception in 2020. She supports ESG's best practices, policies, and reporting. She has also worked on the corporate social responsibility initiatives of Avas Finance, touching on gender, climate changes, and holistic education.
May I now invite our second panelist, CSCS Pratik Bharat Palor. Mr. Pratik is a gold medalist in CA and a 7th rank holder in CS of 2008 batch. He is an author of 10 literary books in Hindi and English, all in different genres. Works at Flipkart as Associate Director Accounts after having served giants like ITC, Pernod Ricard and Carry Ingredients.
I take the pleasure to call upon our third finalist for the session, Ms. Saloni Jane Kotler. Ms. Saloni is an ESG enthusiast, a researcher and a French speaker. She is a postgraduate with a master's degree in electrical engineering from University of Leeds. She extensively works on energy material for supercapacitors, a viable alternative to lithium-ion batteries at Nanotechnology Clean Room, University of Leeds. Her main research interests include renewable energy and energy storage.
Joining Sanjay Jhanwar on stage to steer the session will be our co-moderator, Mr. Rahul Lakhwani, who is a CA turned lawyer. Presently, he is a senior partner at Chir Amrit and heads Taxation Division. So please put your hands together and welcome all the panelists on the stage.
Yes, so we have an esteemed panel here, and as a part of the protocol, I have to praise everyone, including my daughter. Right? Now, when my daughter went to US for her LLM, and she chose her subjects in environmental laws and social laws and all that, Ritu Soni from my office says, she said that, why this? Because we have more work of corporate law and taxation law. She got admission in one of the best universities of US, and she's opting for this. Why can't you explain to her that you should go for corporate law? She said, no, I like this. I said that I'm not going to say anything to my daughter. It is her liberty to choose the law of her liking, and if she likes this, maybe that it is for a reason, and that reason, she'll get a better reason than me for selecting something. And today, she is proving to be right, and Ritu Soni is proving to be wrong. What she presently, you must have read in the newspapers, every company, listed company, is now required to hire somebody who is experienced in ESG. Not only that, now it is going down to even unlisted companies. And we do not have, our country does not have ESG professionals. So That's about my daughter, Shruti, and now about, I normally call him the super artist in the Kalani alumni group. He's a qualified chartered accountant, but I know him more for writing poems and writing dramas and making dramas and singing, and you can make this out from his hairstyle. That he's more of an artist, less of a chartered accountant. So he is there, he's in Flipkart, and Flipkart is one of those companies who say that we have started following ESG. So with that, we move on to Saloni. Now, Saloni comes from some different background, but she has worked on ESG, she has worked on solar, and she has interest in ESG. While her work is different, here is the daughter, there is daughter-in-law. So she's daughter-in-law of my neighborhood. My son is not yet married, don't worry. So my neighborhood. So I have 3 persons here, youngest panel of today. They'll be talking and telling you about ESG, and because they are very close to me, therefore I'll recuse myself in asking the questions because of the conflict of interest. And Rahul would be asking the question.
Thank you so much. So let me start the discussion by way of highlighting certain facts about this conference. So to start with, we at the time of making people aware about this conference made sure that we are not going to have any printed material. So we have e-flyers wherein a link was incorporated. There were certain cards printed because the protocol requires us to do that, only that, nothing else. Then moving towards registration, we made sure that no one should be traveling from one place to another, either someone from our office or the person who want to take registration. And also for the payments, we made sure that paper should not be used. So we switched to the online mode of payment, and with a Google form, the registration has been made. And I tell you, more than 1200 registration has been made for the conference, and 1200 is the number line item. There are many of them which are 4, 5 in numbers. So the number is obviously more because many of them have joined online. And one more thing which we made sure that let's do this conference with respect to taking care of all those points which we are going to discuss in this session. So I can say that this conference is an ESG compliant conference, and we are happy to report this at this juncture. To start with, very simply, I would straightforward come to question to Shruti that what is ESG? The simplest possible meaning which you can give to the audience so that they can take what is ESG means to you, please.
In the simplest language, if I can, so ESG, again I would repeat that ESG stands for environment, social and governance. And in a business context, it means any business which is socially responsible. So it is a different lens of looking at businesses, of looking at corporates from the angle of how conscious they are, to how considerate they are towards the society, community, environment, and all of the stakeholders.
Okay. So Shruti, to me that India's business traditions have always made them just don't work for profits, don't work for profits, work for the society also. So my next question to Mr. Prateek will be, is this a new concept in India, or I guess we always follow this?
Thank you, Rahul, and thank you, sir, for this great opportunity and in fact a proud moment for me. इससे पहले कि मैं आपके सवाल का उत्तर दूं, मैं एक बात सबके ध्यान में लाना चाहता हूं कि ये पैनल यंगेस्ट होने के साथ साथ इसमें नारी शक्ति का प्रतिनिधित्व भी सबसे ज़्यादा है, तो मैं श्रुति और सलोनी को इस बात की भी बधाई देना चाहता हूं और कमेटी को भी. Coming to the question quickly, is this a new concept or a forgotten one? I think हम लोग उस समाज से आते हैं, we belong to that culture and that society जो अपने बही खातों पे शुभ लाभ लिखते हैं. शुभ लाभ essentially means a profit which is earned with the overall welfare of all, where we are taking care of everyone, taking care of the society. So शुभ लाभ गणेश जी के बेटों के नाम हैं और वो कितने पुराने हम सब जानते हैं. So it is probably a concept which was there since ancient times, but in the recent evolution, in the recent industrialization, consumerism, we have probably forgotten it, and now we have again realized the need that we need to go back to it for our own sustainable survival.
Okay, thank you. So my next question will be to Saloni, Ms. Kotler, that why we are discussing so much ESG these days? Is it because just now we have crossed a pandemic, or can say that floods? We have just listened to the examples what happened recently in Amarnath Yatra, that a lot of pilgrimages were the people who were there on account of some sudden climate change suffered. So the question is this something need of right now, or what is this? Why we are discussing so?
See, apart from too many aspects, the two main concerns of today's, global issues are, first is the pandemic, and second is the environmental crisis. Now, when we talk about pandemic, it is considered as one of the most economically destructive event of the past 125 years, which comprises of almost 2 world wars, the Great Depression, and global financial crisis. Now, if we talk about the impact of COVID-19 has had on the economy in the very short span of time, has led these policy makers understand that this is the call for an hour. It is the wake-up call that we have to have a different approach towards investments. So we have to work towards the sustainable approach towards the investments. And I'm saying this because parallels have been drawn between the unforeseen risk of the pandemic as well as the environmental risk. Now, when I talk about the environmental risk, we talk about this unprecedented monsoon rains of Pakistan, which is happening right now. Right? If we talk about the heat waves which are in California, or the wildfires, or if we talk about the extreme high temperatures that is prevailing in the northwestern part of India that happened recently in the month of April, or if we talk about Alaska's melting glaciers, which is because of the warm temperatures there, which are responsible for the high level rise of the sea. So all these factors are intensifying the interest of the policymakers that they have to have a paradigm shift towards their investment approach. They have to prioritize ESG because it is the pick of the economy now. And it is really very important, not only for our sustainable living, but also for the growing economy of our country. Yes.
Thank you. So, Shruti, you are right now heading one of the organization ESG compliance part. So, my question is, all corporates are running to find out, okay, how we can get a good tag as ESG compliant. So is it just I should say a certificate, or I should say assurance that they are good, or actually this is changing something in society? Can you just give us a light on that?
So that's the tough question that you have asked. So yes, suddenly, as Saloni mentioned, that in the last 2 years, businesses are becoming conscious about what they appear to be in the society, towards all the stakeholders, investors, community, employees, what they appear to be to others. So that is why a lot of focus is there on getting certifications, suddenly getting, there is this called Great Place to Work certifications, or maybe green certifications, or making changes in their supply chains. So that all is happening, and yes, a part of the reality is that a lot of rat race has also started in that direction, where just for the and these certifications are mostly outside of India. So these are UK based or US based certifiers, really qualified certifiers. So a lot of funds are going outside of India to get these certifications. So by that, I don't mean that there is no impact. Obviously, when you are having, say, a green building certification for your office building, if you're having something like that, you have worked for it. You have earned the certification. So you're doing efforts, but then a lot of the focus is on the validation part rather than, I don't know, the real impact.
Okay. So the point is, you are putting up like this, that during the process of getting certification, they are making efforts which eventually will lead some good to
Yes,
society.
yes.
Thank you. So my next question will be to Mr. Prateek. Prateek, see, understand this concept requires to incur certain cost. Fine. So we say that, is it an investment, or if I say being a chartered accountancy background, is it an expenses? Because is it actually creating something good to economy? That is my one question. First question. The second question which I want to put up, whether it creates some value to the organization also. So what good to the economy when when an organization spends? Because in my view, it's only an expenses, not an investment. This is my understanding. I want you to clarify on that. And second, if it is an investment, then actually some value is created for the economy in total or not. That I want to address you.
Yeah, sure. So there are 2-3 aspects. One is whether it brings expenditure to you or it brings value to you, and then value to organization alone or the overall economy. So when you decided to conduct this conference without printing the pamphlets, it was reducing the expenditure, right?
Obvious.
So
Yes.
in some way, I have answered you.
Yes.
So online is an alternate which is actually enabling a lot less expenditure. For that matter, if we talk about solar energy, if we talk about hydropower, if we talk about saving water in whatever different ways, if we talk about caring about your employees in the social aspect, caring about your customers in the social aspect, while apparently it takes to invest some money to get into the ESG, there are many ways in which you actually need not invest money, but you need to invest your thought and emotion to get into the ESG thing. And if I may say so, while the organizations are investing both in ESG activities, propagating themselves as doing the ESG activities and certifications also, as Shruti already mentioned, but eventually it adds value to you. It gives you the needed support of the society. The society feels one with you. They feel good about you. They come out supporting your product कि नहीं भाई ये कंपनी अच्छी है, मुझे इनका प्रोडक्ट खरीदना है, because they do less harm to the environment. They do take care of their people better. They do support the society better. So people want to associate with them, right? So that essentially means that your business is supported back by the people. That essentially means more business for a longer duration. And when you do good business, you are a part of the macroeconomy. You are ultimately contributing towards.
So basically, branding yourself an ESG compliant will create value in terms of stakeholders, say your shareholders, your customers.
Yes.
If you put on a product that, okay, for every product you are buying, or we are planting a tree, it leads to a value
Yes.
in the eyes of the customer. In that way, it creates not an expenses, but an investment to create a value or brand.
Absolutely. So even your spend on ESG may pay back almost immediately.
Oh, great. Thank you. So my next question to Saloni will be, see, we are a country wherein CSR compliance started because it was incorporated as a part of corporate law, the Companies Act. So where do you see ESG in Bharat? Because we are a country wherein the businesses make sure to earn maximum of profit, and if the government put up a compliance, then they do that compliance. But all these factors to at least MSMEs does not create, I should say, necessity unless there's no regulation. So with respect to ESG, my understanding goes right now, CSR is different, ESG is different, and ESG regulations are not there. So with respect to Bharat as an India concept, the ESG concept, how much we are adopting it, particularly with respect to present time?
See, I want to start by telling you that policymakers of any country, be it India or be of any other developed country, if they are guided by the concept of sustainable development, if they understand or they prioritize ESG, and they will always assure that their growing economy is always well rooted to its ecological roots, and these roots are always protected and nurtured to support the growth for the long run. Now, when we talk about India, India is taking major steps towards ESG. If I talk about the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, it has declared that, in the financial year of 2020 to 2023, top 1,000 listed companies of India will have to provide BRSR report, that is Business Responsibility and Sustainability Report. Now, this will give the ESG data to the annual reports. It will be notified in the stock markets. It will be provided in their company websites. So, and it will be separately given to the stakeholders. So, India is definitely moving towards ESG goals. Although it is the third largest polluter of carbon emission, but it has to take certain steps to curb the emission of carbon and to meet the target of net zero by 2070.
Thank you. Actually,
If I may add one statistical aspect to what Saloni just said, we might be by quantum third largest in terms of carbon emission, but when it comes to per capita, we are far, far below than that.
So, as a concept, if I talk about ESG, a common question to all the panelists, that what you see ESG is going to create, is it going to create a future where there will be a well-being for the planet or not? That's my specific question, for the reason, because I find that ESG we talk a lot, but unless we don't imbibe, it may happen that we may not have a planet available for the generation. So I understand it as a concept, but my short-sightedness of earning best profits, I restrict myself saying that let me save the expenses and do the profitability thing only. But I just want to put up a common question to the panelists in terms of ESG down the line 10 years, 15 years. What good is going to create for the planet? Quickly with one or two examples each panel, please. You can start with Shruti.
Okay. So I think it is going to, as you already mentioned, that 10-15 years, it's going to take time to see real impact happen. So right now, because it's a new thing, we're all running after it. But the good part that is there, that is likely to create impact, as was mentioned in the beginning of the session, that now organizations are taking it so seriously that they want sustainability officers at the CXO levels. So they want ESG leadership, just like we have a CEO, CFO, COOs, Chief Credit Officer, we'll have a Chief Sustainability Officer. So at that level, if it is being taken seriously, if there is somebody in every organization who can lead that as a mission, then we can see real impact.
Very quickly, because your watch is showing 6 o'clock.
30 seconds each. Rapid fast.
The short answer is yes. It is showing, I would say it is showing impact, as everybody, all of us have started thinking what we can do better for the environment, how we can make ourselves accountable for it, and what we can contribute back to the society. So it is not that it is just a theory and there are some regulations and the government is pushing it to us. Yes, there are regulations and maybe there will be more regulations, but people have started thinking about it and doing it. So as in Shruti's words, there is a negative list, don't do this, but people are going a lot on the positive list, they are initiating things.
Good, thank you. Last
I just want to say one line, that ESG has a ripple effect. It starts from an individual, it reaches to micro level, macro level, and eventually the major levels, and it helps in growing the economy of the nation.
Great. Thank you so much. With this, hand over to Sanjay sir, please.
A big round of applause for this insightful session from this young panel. For the felicitation of this panel, I would request Shri Arun Dhannaria ji and Shri Manmohan Parnami ji from AU Small Finance Bank to please felicitate the panelists.
In India, the term ESG has recently gained far greater importance among investors, policymakers, and other key stakeholders. The pandemic might have ended, but ESG has just started spreading its wings.
Oh. आप आगे वही आगे आप दीजिए ये मैं ये
This pandemic has forced each one of us to think about a future in a completely different perspective, leaving us all with questions: in which direction do we head? Where do we focus? How do we form our vision and formulate our business plans? Or how do we make an existing business substantial?
Today's panel discussions have definitely given each one of us a lot of food for thought. With this, we hand over the charge back to the convener of the conference, Mr. Sanjay Jhanwar.
So there is nothing left except our night session. And therefore, this is the time when I just tell you what we are going to do in next 10 months, every month what we are going to do. But before that, I would humbly request everyone to please come back at 9 o'clock in the evening. Why? What is the real problem of new generation and old generation and equally everyone else? Is keeping the mental health good. Physical health, you know how to keep good. Most of us do not know, and even if we know, we do not know. We can hear a lecture, but we do not know how to practice something which can help keeping our mental health well. तो हमारे साथ शाम को 9 बजे स्वामी जी आ रहे हैं, गोविंद देव गिरी जी जो अयोध्या मंदिर ट्रस्ट के ट्रेजरर हैं, और उनसे सवाल पूछेंगे मैं और डॉक्टर प्रमीला बाफना और शिल्पा भंसाली. किस पर पूछेंगे? डिप्रेशन पर. किस पर पूछेंगे? एंजाइटी पर, स्लीपलेसनेस पर, बच्चों से कैसे डील करें इस पर, और साथ में सवाल पूछेंगे हम ये कई जनरेशन गैप की वजह से कुछ रिलेशनशिप्स में जो ऊपर नीचे होता है उस पर. बहुत सारे इस तरह के सवाल जो हमारे मन से या हमारे मेंटल हेल्थ से रिलेटेड है, हमको चीज़ें जल्दी से डिस्टर्ब कर देती है, कई सारी उस पर सवाल पूछेंगे, कैसे उससे बाहर निकलें. तो इन सब सवालों के जवाब सुनने के लिए आप रात को 9 बजे आएँ. और अगर एक स्लाइड मेरी तैयार है तो वो दिखा दे निखिल, और नहीं तैयार है तो जस्ट शो दैट स्लाइड and which would tell you what we are going to do in next 12 months, next 10 months. 2 months are already there. Last month we have done Amrit Mahotsav at the hands of the 5 students of Deaf and Dumb School who performed Jan Gan Man, or our national anthem, because they cannot hear, they cannot speak. They performed on our national anthem. So at their hands we celebrated Amrit Mahotsav on 13th of August in the presence of 125 persons at 5:30 in the morning. So that's what we did. And you have something on this? No. This month, September month, we have this. C.L. Jhanwar Memorial Conference at Jaipur. It's not, as I mentioned in the morning, one person cannot do anything. Behind me was a team of 75 volunteers who have made this happen. And those volunteers include, I should not call them volunteers, they include my senior friends like Anil Bafnaji. Now, untiring efforts of everyone. In my office, I have 45 people, but it was their duty to do what I say. But other than that, if I have 70 volunteers working on this, now that is really, really great. They had either because of, respect for my father, or affection towards me, or interest in the subject. I do not know the reason, but I am thankful to them. So the next one, in October 2022, on 1st of October, we are inaugurating our Delhi office with the strength of only 12. In Jaipur, we are 45 plus, but in Delhi, we are starting with 12. Let's hope that our decision to take this proves to be wrong, and we have to shift to a bigger office in Delhi very soon. Now, in the month of November, we have a 2 days program for business successors. We have first generation businessmen who have made their fortune themselves. उन्होंने साइकिल से मर्सिडीज पर आए. But there is a second generation जो मर्सिडीज में पैदा हुआ है. And there are certain aspects on which they need to be trained so that if they fail in life, they have not seen the other side of life. So if that comes, how to deal with that, what to do, and on business side, how to scale up the business. You don't need 100 crore to make 1,000 crore. You need only 20 crore to make 1,000 crore. But with that, what do you need more? How to do that? And in this mission of mine, who will join hands, friends? Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad. So they are joining me in conducting this program at Ahmedabad and also at Gift City. And then the next one, December, a camp for specially abled interaction and Delhi tour for economically challenged students. If you want somebody, one of my friends said, I want to do something for this conference. I'll name also Sudhir Gupta, senior advocate. Now he said, now what check should I send? You have done marvelous job and I want to contribute something to this conference. I told him, I have something else for you to contribute for. Don't contribute in this conference. I have enough sponsors here. There, it will be a camp which will be in association with Bhagwan Mahavir Viklang Sahayata Samiti, where we'll be installing at our native place. हम जो आसपास में 7 दिन पहले से वहाँ ऑटो रिक्शा और सब घूम के they will register जिनके हाथ नहीं है, पैर नहीं है, एक लिम्ब नहीं है, 2 लिम्ब नहीं है, आधा हाथ नहीं है, आधा पैर नहीं है या पूरा पैर नहीं है, उनकी लिस्ट बनाएंगे, उनको रजिस्टर करेंगे, कलेक्टर के यहाँ उनका रजिस्ट्रेशन होगा, and then a team of doctors and technicians from Bhagwan Mahavir Viklang Sahayata Samiti would go on 17th December, Saturday, and would install. Then and there, during the course of the day, they'll be sent on their legs. They'll come on wheelchairs, but they'll be sent back to home on their legs. So that's what we are doing on 17th December. Why I've chosen this date? Not because it is a Saturday. You have 4 Saturdays, because it is the death anniversary of my father. And he only held the last camp before 20 years. And now he died in 2006. After this will be the first camp, the occasion of, our 20th anniversary celebration of Chiramrit. So this will be the camp. And with this, on the second mission with which I am working, I have not yet finalized. This I have finalized with Bhagwan Mahavir Viklang Sahayata Samiti. But what I have not yet finalized is, I have a dream that now village school kids, government school kids, they have not seen even Byawar, what to talk of Jaipur. My village is a very small village. Of course, I was born in Jaipur, but my father was born there. And therefore, what I want to do, I want to take those village kids to Delhi. I want to show them capital of the nation. I want to show them Supreme Court of India, which I can arrange because I'm a senior lawyer. I want to show them Prime Minister's house and the office. I want to show them Parliament. I want to show them Rashtrapati Bhavan, and give them the exposure so that they are ready to fly with their own wings. So I'm working on that, and hopefully it will happen, because Vice President of India is, by the way, from Jaipur. All of you know him, एंड धनखड़ साहब जयपुर से हैं, तो ये पॉसिबल लगता है, और वो भी सीनियर एडवोकेट थे, तो पॉसिबल लगता है. और दूसरा जो लोकसभा स्पीकर हैं, दे आर माई क्लाइंट्स, सो आई थिंक आई विल बी एबल टू मेक इट. नाउ in January, we have a client felicitation program. And why it is in January and why it is on 28th of January? Because before 20 years, I surrendered my certificate of practice of CA and started law practice. And now for last 20 years, I am in law practice. So during that time, I had my first retainership client, and he was Arun Dandania ji. I do not know whether he's here or not. He just felicitated Pratik. He's gone. So it happens to be his birthday. 28th of January happens to be Arun Dandania. My first but my first client as a lawyer, not as a chartered accountant. His birthday. So on that, we are calling all the clients to felicitate them, retainer clients and the kind of regular clients to felicitate them, and a kind of networking between the clients and sharing their views and all that. And on that day, we'll have felicitation of our star performance as well. We annually we give Chiramrit Star Performance Award. For last 2 years, we did not have the occasion to give. So this year we are giving on that day. So Chiramrit Star Performance Award would be on 28th of January. Then in February, we are inaugurating the office in Mumbai. My mother says you do it on 21st of Feb, but I have to check the logistics. My mother, मेरा मुहूर्त मेरी मदर ही निकालती है हमेशा, कोई पंडित के पास नहीं जाते हैं. She checks and वो मुहूर्त निकाल देती है. जिस दिन को वो बोलती है उस दिन हम मुहूर्त कर देते हैं. So 21st of Feb, we are opening our Bombay office, most probably on that day, if not on some other Saturday. We have a Bombay office, but it is just a camp office of 2 persons. Now we'll be having a Bombay office of 15 persons. So we'll be having 15 professionals there. Now in the month of March, we'll have a sports event, and I do not know whether Dhirendra Madan Saab is here or not. Madan Saab is the sponsor of this event. He wants to sponsor the entire sports event. While we'll organize, he is going to be the 100% financial contributor because he has passion for sports and games. So that is going to happen in March. In April, we have our inauguration of our New York office on 9th of April. So I would request all of you to please join us at New York. And ticket is yours. But 3 days you are on me. Rest of the time you can enjoy United States. So 8th we'll be having a group booking to fly. I do not know if there are more numbers. Somebody was saying that if you are having this much number, why don't you take a chartered flight? I said no, I'm having only 40 persons to fly with me from here. Remaining 60 are coming from US itself. So that's going to happen in April. And then I have May. Is a health and wellness program. Either it would be, we have not decided because it is month of May 23, not decided the venue. But we are here, the client who has expressed to join hands as a sponsor for this. There are 2 clients. I need more, but 2 clients. One is Apex Hospital. They say that because it is on wellness, we want to be with you. Health or wellness. I said, but you are not in naturopathy, you are in allopathy. But they said, still it is in wellness. So we'll join hands. And I wanted Dr. Vikas to be here to hear this from me if he wants to join hands on the wellness program going to happen in May 23. And I have received thumbs up from Mahatma Gandhi Hospital. So, so I have 2 persons taking care of this. Then we'll work out, there is a June program of culinary art and cultural event. This program, Arun Dandania ji himself wants to sponsor. He has great interest in this side. Yes, the last one now. Now, this is going to be really, really interesting. and our drama, बहुत सारे लोग जो जैन जीतो संस्था से हैं वो सब जानते हैं, यूट्यूब पे अवेलेबल है। बिन बुलाए मेहमान हमारे ऑफिस ने एक नाटक प्ले किया इनकम टैक्स रेट पर, हाउ टू हैंडल एंड फेस इनकम टैक्स सर्चेस व्हेन इट इज एट योर प्लेस, and 45 lawyers and chartered accountants were the stage artists, and nobody believed, everyone thought that they are the experienced stage artist. We presented entire income tax raid on stage in Birla Auditorium, and the house was jam-packed. And Jito is requesting us to do it again at Bangalore for 5,000 people. They have a conference, big conference in November 2023. They say, you plan it for us. We said, we are not a drama company. We'll not do it for you. So we will do it for ourselves. So we'll have this event, and here it will not be income tax search. It will be some other edutainment program. So education and entertainment we want to combine. Most probably, the concept which comes to my mind is, everyone who is doing the business now, we have several takeaways from this conference. I'll combine all the takeaways that what a person should know while doing business in future if he has to become a business leader, and will give the message through that drama. And the task of writing the script I'll give to Prateek, who has attended this entire program. So with that, we'll present that theater drama, because in July we'll be completing 12 months of our earlier theater program. So with that, I think it is already, I have taken 5 minutes more than the allotted time. Thank you very much, everyone. And I'm grateful for this program, attending this program. And I would request you that if you are interested in attending any of these programs, either drop a message to me or my team, any member of my team, and you will be invited in the program. If you are interested in art, culture, history, there's a program for that. If you are interested in just the entertainment, if you are interested in charity, we have a program. If you are interested in something health and wellness, we have a program. If you are interested in visiting New York, we have a program where we'll be meeting the ambassador, we'll be meeting the trade partners, Indo-US chambers, we'll be meeting like Ashok has suggested, Jain Vishwabharati, people who are in business and who are Jains from US, like that. So we'll be arranging those meets of that delegation. So whosoever wants to visit is most welcome. Please drop your interest in this program. And with that, we conclude the program. And I will just show a screen. Nikhil, you have this? Yeah, you have the screen to show? The last screen. And that is the beginning, not the end. Now, in 2 sessions, we were discussing something, multidisciplinary partnerships and consulting forum. So, this is the forum where, Nikhil, please come on stage. Nikhil is in charge of this forum. I am the advisor. Expert Consulting Group, short name is ECG, which would have its office in New York in partnership with Ashok Bhansali, Anil Kohli. So we 3 friends would set up this as a promoter. All others may join, whoever wants to join. Tomorrow we'll have informal discussions with K-Clan and U-Clan members who would like to join that internally or externally, whichever way they want to join as an external partner, they want to join, they want to become part of it, they want to, whichever way they want. So tomorrow we'll have some informal discussion with them when we have that picnic and get together. So this is that. My firm was Chiramrit, and this was promoted by my wife Meenakshi, and he's the managing partner right now. So this, we want to create a combination of different kind of professionals, IITians, management graduates, and because as you have heard in the morning, consultants don't need a license. No law applies to them. Yeah. So they can go without boundary restriction anywhere. We cannot go, so consultants would go there. So that's how we have structured, and that is all. Thank you very much.
So I think the conference can't be complete without thanking
Sanjay and his team. Big round of applause for him. I think in my memory also, this is one of the best organized conference which I've seen. And that wouldn't have been possible without making tremendous amount of efforts, which has gone beyond it.
So it is, these are the.
Yeah, I know the entire team, so I think everybody
You have
deserves.
visited conference control room.
Yeah, it's a great conference. So if everybody who's there, I would say to give a standing ovation to everybody who was involved in this.
Yes.
Okay.
Can we have Seema is here? Is Seema here? Seema, can we have national anthem? Please come here.
Yes.
We'll end with the national anthem and that is all.
Good. Proud of you.
Okay. जन गण मन अधिनायक जय भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलधि तरंगा तब शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तब जय गाथा जन गण मंगल दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे.
Thank you everyone.
Fantastic.